Dr. Maya Thompson, a respected black surgeon in the tight-knit town of Maplewood, champions the revitalization of the local library despite facing systemic corruption and racial biases. As she uncovers financial irregularities orchestrated by Officer Daniels and complicit board members, Maya confronts subtle microaggressions and overt discrimination aimed at undermining her efforts. Her calm professionalism is constantly tested by threats and attempts to discredit her, intensifying the tension within the community. Maya's relentless pursuit of justice highlights the deep-seated prejudices and challenges she must overcome to restore integrity and trust in Maplewood. Imagine being a pillar of your community, someone whose success is both admired and envied, yet choosing to live quietly among the very people you aim to uplift. This is exactly what happened to Dr. Maya Thompson, a renowned surgeon whose reputation extended far beyond the bustling corridors of the city's top hospitals. But Maya didn't let her accolades or wealth define her. Instead, she preferred the simplicity of her daily routines, blending seamlessly into the fabric of her neighborhood. Today, her humility would be both her strength and the catalyst for an unexpected turn of events that would challenge everything she believed in. Before we embark on Maya's journey, let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. If stories of resilience and quiet strength resonate with you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community for more inspiring narratives. The early morning sun cast a warm glow over Maplewood, a quaint suburban town where everyone knew everyone else's name, or at least thought they did. The streets were lined with charming houses, each with meticulously kept gardens that bloomed with vibrant colors, reflecting the town's pride in its close-knit community. At the heart of Maplewood stood Sunnyside Diner, a beloved local establishment known for its hearty breakfasts and the friendly banter of its regular patrons. Dr. Maya Thompson pushed open the glass door of the diner, the familiar jingle of the bell announcing her arrival. Inside, the diner buzzed with the usual morning activity, servers moving briskly between tables, the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the aroma of sizzling bacon. Maya greeted the morning with a gentle smile, her presence understated, yet unmistakably confident. She was dressed in a simple blouse and jeans, her hair pulled back in a neat bun, her stethoscope resting casually around her neck despite it being outside her professional environment. As she approached the counter, Maya caught snippets of conversation, the easy camaraderie that made the diner a second home to many. She nodded to Tom, the owner, who was busy flipping pancakes with practiced ease. "Morning, Tom," she called out, her voice warm and genuine. Tom glanced up, his face breaking into a broad smile. "Mornin', Dr. Thompson. The usual?" "You know me too well," Maya replied, settling onto a stool at her favorite corner. She appreciated the simplicity of her routine here, a stark contrast to the high-stakes decisions and endless hours of her medical career. It was a place where she could unwind, where her title meant little in the grand scheme of daily interactions. Maya glanced around, her eyes briefly meeting those of her neighbors. Mrs. Jenkins, an elderly widow who frequented the diner for company, as much as for her morning tea, waved cheerfully. Young couples shared stories of their day ahead, and teenagers huddled over their phones, planning after-school activities. In Maplewood, Maya was both a respected figure and an ordinary citizen, her status subtly woven into the community's everyday life. As she sipped her coffee, Maya couldn't help but notice the subtle undercurrents that ran beneath the town's idyllic surface. The recent closure of the local library had sparked quiet discontent among the residents, a stark reminder of the systemic challenges that even small towns faced. Funding cuts and bureaucratic red tape were becoming more frequent topics of conversation, and Maya, ever the advocate for her community, found herself increasingly involved in town meetings and grassroots initiatives. Today, however, the diner held an unusual tension. A new face sat at a nearby table, a young man in his late 20s, dressed sharply in a suit that seemed out of place amidst the diner's casual attire. He was on his phone, speaking in hushed tones, but the occasional frown that crossed his features hinted at frustration. Maya watched him for a moment, her curiosity piqued. It wasn't often that someone from the corporate world chose to frequent Maplewood's beloved diner. The bell above the door jingled again, and another customer entered, a middle-aged woman with a stern expression and a briefcase clutched tightly in her hand. She scanned the room before settling at a table near the window, her eyes lingering momentarily on Maya before she took her seat. Maya noted the woman's careful demeanor, the way she seemed to assess her surroundings with a practiced eye. "Is everything all right, Maya?" Tom asked, noticing her thoughtful gaze. She shrugged slightly, a contemplative look in her eyes. "Just thinking about the upcoming town meeting. It's going to be a tough one." Tom nodded, understanding the weight of her responsibilities. "You've got this. You always do." Maya smiled appreciatively. "Thanks, Tom. I just hope we can make some real progress this time." Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden commotion at the entrance. The young man in the suit had just stood up, his face flushed with irritation, and made his way towards the restroom. Maya watched as he reached the door, then paused, turning back towards the diner with a sigh that suggested deep frustration. Curiosity getting the better of her, Maya approached his table cautiously. "Everything okay?" she asked, her tone gentle. The man looked up, surprised by her directness. For a moment, his sharp eyes met hers, and Maya could see the fatigue and determination beneath his professional facade. "Oh, yeah, just a bit stressed, that's all," he replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Maya studied him for a moment longer before nodding. "If you ever need to talk, Maplewood's community is here for you." He gave a grateful nod before turning back to his phone, but Maya could sense there was more beneath the surface. As she returned to her seat, her mind began to piece together the subtle signs of brewing conflict, not just within the diner, but within the town itself. Minutes later, the stern woman from earlier stood up and approached Maya's table. "Dr. Thompson," she began, her voice cool and measured. "May I have a word?" Maya nodded, gesturing for her to sit. "Of course, Ms. Carter. What can I do for you?" The woman hesitated before taking a seat, her expression guarded. "I'm Olivia Carter, the new project manager for the Library Revitalization Initiative. I understand you've been quite involved in advocating for the project." Maya nodded, her demeanor open and welcoming. "Yes, I believe the library is a cornerstone of our community. It's more than just books. It's a place for learning, connection, and growth." Olivia leaned forward, her eyes searching Maya's face. "We appreciate your support, but there are some concerns from the town council about the funding and the scope of the project. They feel it might be too ambitious, given our current budget constraints." Maya listened intently, her mind already strategizing solutions. "I understand their concerns. Perhaps we can explore alternative funding sources or scale the project in phases to make it more manageable." Olivia sighed, a hint of frustration evident in her posture. "I wanted to reach out to you personally, before the next meeting. Your influence and insight could really help sway opinions and find a middle ground." Maya felt a surge of determination. "I'd be happy to help. Let's set up a time to discuss the details and come up with a plan that addresses both the council's concerns and the community's needs." Olivia offered a tentative smile. "Thank you, Dr. Thompson. I'll arrange something for later this week." As Olivia left, Maya felt a familiar sense of purpose. She thrived on challenges like these, opportunities to bridge gaps and foster unity within her community. But beneath her calm exterior, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more at play here. The new project manager's worries hinted at deeper issues, and Maya was determined to uncover them. Just then, the door swung open again, and the young man in the suit re-entered, his frustration evident. This time, however, he approached Maya directly, bypassing the diner's usual social niceties. "Dr. Thompson, right?" he asked, his voice tinged with urgency. Maya looked up, recognizing the familiar strain in his eyes. "Yes, that's me. How can I help you?" The man hesitated, glancing around the diner as if ensuring their conversation remained private. "My name is Marcus Reed. I'm the new director for the town's economic development. I've been trying to reach you about a pressing matter." Maya gestured for him to sit, her curiosity deepening. "Please, have a seat. What's going on?" Marcus took a seat across from her, his expression earnest. "I've been hearing things, rumors about certain projects being pushed forward without proper oversight. Specifically, the library revitalization. I'm concerned there might be some mismanagement, or worse, corruption involved." Maya leaned back, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "That's a serious allegation. Do you have any evidence to support these claims?" Marcus nodded, pulling a folder from his briefcase and sliding it across the table. I don't have concrete proof yet, but there have been irregularities in the funding allocations and some unexplained expenditures. I need someone with your standing and integrity to help investigate and ensure everything is above board." Maya opened the folder, her eyes scanning the documents quickly. Indeed, the numbers didn't add up, and there were discrepancies that warranted further investigation. "I appreciate you bringing this to me, Marcus. I'll look into these issues immediately. Our community deserves transparency and accountability, especially for something as important as the library." Marcus sighed with relief, a hint of gratitude softening his features. "Thank you, Dr. Thompson. I knew I could count on you." As Maya delved deeper into the folder, she realized the gravity of the situation. The library project, which she had passionately supported, was now shrouded in uncertainty. Determined to get to the bottom of it, she made a mental note to discuss this with Olivia Carter later that week. Just then, Tom called out from the counter, "Maya, your blueberry pancakes are ready." Maya smiled, a momentary respite from the weight of the unfolding mystery. "Thanks, Tom. I'll be right there." As she stood up to retrieve her meal, Maya's mind was already racing with possibilities. The subtle tensions in Maplewood were bubbling beneath the surface, and she sensed that the conflicts she was encountering were just the beginning. Her role as a respected community leader was about to be tested in ways she hadn't anticipated. Returning to her seat, Maya took a bite of her pancakes, savoring the familiar taste that always brought her comfort. She glanced around the diner, observing the interactions and dynamics that made Maplewood unique. Despite the looming challenges, there was a sense of unity here, a shared commitment to making their town a better place. But Maya knew that unity could be fragile, especially when trust was compromised. As she finished her meal, she resolved to approach the upcoming town meeting with a renewed sense of purpose. She would rally the community, address the concerns head-on, and ensure that integrity remained at the forefront of every initiative. Leaving the diner, Maya felt the cool morning breeze invigorate her. She walked down the familiar streets of Maplewood, her steps purposeful. The town was her home, and she was determined to protect its heart against any threats, internal or external. As she reached her modest home, a stark contrast to her affluent status, Maya paused to look around the white picket fence, the blooming flower beds, the simple yet elegant decor. It was a sanctuary she had chosen to maintain despite her success. Her home embodied her belief that true wealth was measured not by bank accounts or titles, but by the strength and well-being of the community. Inside, Maya's home was a haven of simplicity and warmth. Family photos adorned the walls, showcasing moments of joy and togetherness. Bookshelves were filled with literature ranging from medical journals to classic novels, reflecting her diverse interests. She settled into her favorite armchair, pulling out her laptop to begin organizing her thoughts for the day. The screen displayed her calendar. With the town meeting scheduled for the afternoon, Maya opened her notes, outlining the key points she wanted to address: transparency in funding, community involvement, and safeguarding against any potential misuse of resources. She was determined to lead with honesty and courage, ensuring that Maplewood remained a place where everyone felt valued and heard. A soft knock on the door interrupted her focus. Maya looked up to see her neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, standing hesitantly on the porch. "Good morning, Maya," she greeted warmly. "I heard about the issues with the library project. Is everything all right?" Maya smiled reassuringly. "Morning, Mrs. Jenkins. We're working through some challenges, but I'm confident we'll find a solution that benefits everyone." Mrs. Jenkins nodded, her eyes filled with trust. "I knew you'd handle it. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know." As Mrs. Jenkins left, Maya felt a surge of gratitude for the support of her neighbors. It reminded her why she had chosen to live simply, because at the end of the day, it was the people around her who mattered most. Determined to make progress, Maya opened her laptop and began drafting an email to Olivia Carter, setting up a meeting to discuss the discrepancies in the library project. She also made a mental note to reach out to Marcus Reed later, ensuring that every angle was covered. Hours later, as the sun reached its zenith, Maya found herself back at Sunnyside Diner, this time meeting with Olivia to delve deeper into the financial irregularities. The diner's morning bustle had quieted down, leaving a calm atmosphere conducive to serious conversation. Olivia sat across from her, the folder still open between them. "I've gone through the numbers you pointed out, And there are definitely anomalies. Some of the expenditures don't align with the project's scope. Maya nodded, her analytical mind piecing together the puzzle. We need to trace these funds and identify where they're being diverted. It's possible that someone is exploiting the system for personal gain. Olivia sighed, frustration evident in her posture. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions without solid evidence. Now that you're involved, we can move forward with more authority. Maya leaned forward, her determination unwavering. Let's coordinate with Marcus and get a comprehensive audit started. Transparency is key here, not just for the library project, but for the entire community's trust. As they outlined their plan, Maya felt a sense of unity forming between them. Together, they represented the community's resilience and commitment to integrity. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that there were deeper layers to uncover. Layers that might challenge her in ways she hadn't yet imagined. Leaving the diner once more, Maya felt the weight of responsibility settle comfortably on her shoulders. She walked through the streets of Maplewood with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but also filled with opportunities to make a meaningful impact. As she approached the town hall, where the meeting would take place, Maya took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. The sun cast long shadows on the building's facade, mirroring the complexities and hidden tensions within the community. But Maya was ready to face them head-on, her humility and strength guiding her every step. Inside, the town hall was already filling with concerned residents, their murmurs reflecting the collective anxiety over the library project. Maya stepped up to the podium, her presence commanding yet approachable. She could feel the eyes of the community on her, the weight of their expectations pressing gently but firmly upon her. Good afternoon, everyone, she began, her voice steady and clear. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. I know many of you have concerns about the recent developments with our library project, and I want to address them directly. As she spoke, Maya could sense the room's tension begin to ease, replaced by a growing sense of hope. She outlined the steps she and Olivia were taking to investigate the financial discrepancies, emphasizing the importance of transparency and accountability. She assured the community that every effort was being made to ensure the project's success and integrity. But as she concluded her presentation, a voice from the back of the room cut through the calm. What about the other projects? Are we going to see the same level of scrutiny there as well? Maya turned to face the speaker, her gaze steady. Yes, we will be conducting a thorough review of all ongoing projects to ensure that our community's resources are being used effectively and ethically. No stone will be left unturned in our commitment to integrity. The room fell silent, the residents processing her words. Maya continued to address their concerns, answering questions with honesty and transparency. As the meeting progressed, she felt the initial resistance begin to wane, replaced by a cautious optimism that the community was beginning to believe in the changes she was advocating for. As the meeting drew to a close, Maya knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but with the support of her neighbors and the determination that had carried her through countless obstacles, she was ready to navigate the complexities of Maplewood's social climate and systemic challenges. Her humility, a beacon of strength, would guide her as she worked tirelessly to ensure that her community thrived against all odds. Stay tuned as Dr. Maya Thompson delves deeper into the heart of Maplewood's challenges, uncovering hidden truths and forging alliances that will test her resilience and redefine what it means to lead with grace and integrity. If you're inspired by Maya's dedication and the quiet strength she embodies, give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more compelling stories like this. See you in the next one. The afternoon sun cast a golden hue over Maplewood as Dr. Maya Thompson made her way to the town hall. Her steps were purposeful, each one echoing the determination that had driven her thus far. The streets, usually alive with the chatter of neighbors and the hum of daily activities, seemed quieter today, a subtle reflection of the tension simmering beneath the town's picturesque exterior. Inside the town hall, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Residents milled about, some engaged in hushed conversations, others staring blankly at their phones, seemingly disconnected from the gravity of the upcoming meeting. Maya took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her responsibilities settle comfortably on her shoulders. She had spent countless hours preparing for this moment, ensuring that every detail of the library revitalization project was meticulously planned. Yet, the shadows of doubt and suspicion threatened to undermine her efforts. As she approached the podium, Maya couldn't help but notice the familiar faces, friends, colleagues, and even a few acquaintances, watching her with a mixture of support and skepticism. She offered a reassuring smile, her presence exuding both confidence and humility. This was her community, the very people she had dedicated her life to serving, and she was determined to earn their trust. "Good afternoon, everyone," Maya began, her voice steady and clear. "Thank you all for coming today. I understand there have been concerns regarding the library revitalization project, and I want to address them directly." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, but Maya could sense the underlying tension. She continued, outlining the project's goals, the anticipated benefits for the community, and the steps being taken to ensure transparency and accountability. Her words were measured, each sentence carefully crafted to reassure and inform. However, as she delved deeper into the financial aspects of the project, the atmosphere shifted. A hand shot up from the back of the room, a young woman with sharp features and an air of defiance. "Dr. Thompson," she began, her tone laced with frustration, "how can we trust that these funds are being used appropriately? There have been rumors of mismanagement and favoritism." Maya met her gaze, understanding the validity of the concern. "I assure you, Ms. Davis, that all funds allocated to the project are being meticulously tracked and audited. We are committed to transparency and ensuring that every dollar is spent in the best interest of our community." Despite her calm demeanor, Maya felt a pang of irritation. The rumors were unfounded, but the mere mention of them suggested that her efforts were not entirely appreciated. She pressed on, addressing other questions with the same level of professionalism and grace. After the meeting, as residents began to disperse, Maya found herself approached by Officer James Carter, the town's police chief. His demeanor was respectful, yet there was an unmistakable tension in his eyes. "Dr. Thompson," he began, his voice cautious, "I wanted to speak with you privately about something." Maya nodded, leading him to a quiet corner of the town hall. "Of course, Chief Carter. What's on your mind?" He glanced around, ensuring their conversation remained confidential. "There have been some concerns raised by a few members of the community regarding your involvement in the library project. Specifically, questions about your financial contributions and potential conflicts of interest." Maya raised an eyebrow, taken aback by the accusation. "I assure you, Chief, that all my contributions have been fully transparent and documented. I have no vested interests that would compromise the integrity of this project." Officer Carter sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. "I want to believe you, Maya, but in these times, perceptions matter as much as facts. There's been a lot of unrest, and people are looking for someone to blame when things don't go as planned." Maya felt a surge of frustration, but maintained her composure. "I understand that tensions are high, but casting unfounded suspicions on me won't solve anything. We need to work together to ensure the project's success, not let baseless rumors derail our efforts." Carter nodded slowly, seemingly conceding her point. "You're right, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. If there's anything you need from the police department to help clear your name, please let me know." Maya offered a polite smile. "Thank you, Chief. I appreciate your support. Let's focus on moving forward and ensuring the library becomes the cornerstone of our community." As Carter walked away, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows of doubt were only beginning to encroach upon her hard-earned reputation. The next day, she decided to visit the local coffee shop, Brewed Awakenings, a favorite haunt of hers where she often found solace in a cup of coffee and a good book. The shop was bustling with activity, the rich aroma of espresso mingling with the soft hum of conversation. Maya settled into her usual corner seat, pulling out her laptop to review the latest updates on the library project. As she sipped her coffee, she couldn't help but notice the subtle glances from a few of the staff, shades of skepticism in their eyes that hinted at underlying biases. A man approached her table, a nervous smile on his face. "Excuse me, Dr. Thompson. I'm Michael Lewis, one of the developers working on the library project. I wanted to discuss some concerns I've been having about the recent changes." Maya looked up, sensing the unease in his voice. "Of course, Michael, please. Have a seat. What's troubling you?" He hesitated for a moment before speaking. "I've noticed some discrepancies in the budget allocations, Some of the expenses seem higher than what we initially projected, and there have been some reallocations without proper explanation. I'm worried that if these issues aren't addressed, it could lead to bigger problems down the line." Maya leaned back, considering his words. "Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Michael, can you provide me with the details so we can review them together?" Michael fumbled through his notes, pulling out a few documents. As they went over the figures, Maya recognized the irregularities immediately. "This doesn't look right," she murmured, her professional facade masking the frustration bubbling beneath. "We need to address this immediately. I'll arrange a meeting with Olivia and Marcus to get to the bottom of these discrepancies." Michael nodded, a hint of relief in his eyes. "I knew I could count on you, Maya. It's just, sometimes it feels like no one takes these issues seriously until they become undeniable." Maya placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Your diligence is appreciated, Michael. We'll get to the bottom of this together." As Michael left, Maya felt a renewed sense of urgency. The challenges were mounting, and with each passing day, the stakes were getting higher. She couldn't afford to let personal biases or systemic issues hinder the progress she was so passionately driving forward. Later that evening, as Maya reviewed the day's findings, her phone buzzed with a notification. A message from Olivia Carter, the project manager. "Olivia, we need to discuss the budget discrepancies. ASAP. Are you available for a call tonight?" Maya sighed, rubbing her temples. The layers of complexity were deepening, and she could feel the pressure mounting. "Replying now," she muttered, typing quickly. "Maya?" "Yes, Olivia. Let's talk at 8 p.m. She leaned back in her chair, contemplating the next steps. The systemic challenges were becoming more evident, and it was clear that the root of the problem was not just a simple oversight, but something more insidious. At 8 p.m. sharp, Maya dialed Olivia's number, the anticipation of the conversation making her heart race slightly. Olivia answered on the second ring, her voice tense. "Maya, thank you for calling. I've gone through the documents you sent, and there are several irregularities that we need to address immediately. It seems like there might be some unauthorized adjustments happening within the budget." Maya nodded, even though Olivia couldn't see her. "I've also noticed similar discrepancies, and I've spoken with Michael. We need to investigate this further to ensure there's no foul play involved." Olivia took a deep breath, her voice wavering slightly. "I agree. I've started to dig into some of the expense reports, and there's evidence suggesting that funds are being diverted for personal use. We need to report this to Marcus and possibly involve the authorities if necessary." Maya felt a surge of determination. "Absolutely. Let's compile all the evidence we have and present it to Marcus first. We need to handle this internally before escalating it further. We can't afford any leaks or external interference at this stage." Olivia replied, "Understood. I'll coordinate with Michael to gather all the necessary documents. We should meet first thing tomorrow morning." As they ended the call, Maya couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The more they uncovered, the deeper the corruption seemed to run. It was a stark reminder of the systemic challenges she was up against, a reminder that her position, while powerful, did not shield her from the prejudices and biases that permeated even the most seemingly benign institutions. The following morning, Maya arrived at the library project office early, determined to get to the bottom of the financial irregularities. As she entered the building, she was greeted by Olivia and Michael, both looking more resolute after their discussions the night before. "Good morning, Maya," Olivia greeted, her voice steady. "We've compiled all the discrepancies and mapped out the potential areas where funds might be diverted." Maya reviewed the documents, her eyes scanning the numbers and annotations. "This is troubling. It looks like there are several unauthorized transactions that don't align with our project plans. We need to identify who is responsible and ensure that the funds are redirected appropriately." Michael added, "I've also found instances where contractors were paid significantly more than their agreed rates, with little to no justification. It seems like someone is inflating costs to siphon off money." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. The corruption was not only undermining the project's integrity, but also betraying the trust of the community she so passionately served. "We need to act swiftly, Olivia. Can you arrange a meeting with Marcus today? We need to present our findings and discuss the next steps." Olivia nodded, already making the necessary calls. "I'll set it up right away." As the day progressed, Maya couldn't help but notice the subtle signs of resistance around her. During her interactions with various team members, she sensed a growing unease, furtive glances, tight smiles, and an underlying tension that she couldn't quite pinpoint. It was as if the very fabric of the community was beginning to fray, pulled apart by the whispers of doubt and suspicion. Later that afternoon, Maya sat in a meeting with Marcus Reed, the Director of Economic Development, and a few key members of the project team. The atmosphere was tense, the air heavy with anticipation. "Thank you for meeting with us, Marcus," Maya began, her tone professional yet urgent. "We've uncovered some serious financial irregularities within the library revitalization project that need immediate attention." Marcus leaned forward, his expression grave. "Go on, Maya. What have you found?" Olivia took the lead, presenting the compiled evidence. "We've identified several unauthorized transactions and inflated costs that suggest funds are being diverted for personal use. This not only compromises the integrity of the project, but also jeopardizes the trust our community has placed in us." Marcus reviewed the documents, his face growing darker with each passing moment. "This is unacceptable. Do you have any leads on who might be responsible?" Michael interjected. "We suspect that one of the senior project managers might be involved. There have been inconsistencies in their expense reports, and their conduct has raised some red flags." Maya nodded, her mind racing with the implications. "We need to conduct a thorough investigation immediately. This involves auditing all financial records and possibly involving external authorities to ensure a transparent process." Marcus sighed, rubbing his temples. "I understand the severity of the situation. We'll allocate additional resources to assist with the investigation. In the meantime, I want to ensure that this doesn't escalate into a larger issue that could tarnish the town's reputation." Maya met his gaze firmly. "Transparency is crucial, Marcus. We can't afford to let this go unchecked. The community deserves to know that their trust is being honored and that we are taking decisive action to rectify these issues." As the meeting concluded, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment, mixed with the weight of responsibility. The initial conflict was only beginning to surface, and the path ahead was fraught with challenges. The subtle prejudices and biases she had encountered earlier were now intertwining with the systemic corruption, creating a complex web that she was determined to untangle. That evening, as Maya returned to her modest home, she was met with a familiar sense of solitude. The quiet streets of Maplewood seemed to mirror her contemplative state, each step bringing her closer to the crossroads of justice and integrity. Inside, she settled into her favorite armchair, the weight of the day's events pressing upon her. She opened her laptop, beginning to draft a detailed report of the findings and outlining the steps needed to address the corruption. As she worked, her phone buzzed with a notification, another message from Olivia. "Olivia, we have scheduled a meeting with the board for tomorrow morning. We need to present our findings and propose immediate actions." Maya took a deep breath, her mind racing with strategies and solutions. The road ahead was uncertain, but her resolve was unwavering. She had always believed in leading with humility and integrity, but now, more than ever, those principles were being tested. The next morning, Maya arrived at the town hall once again, this time prepared to face the board of directors overseeing the library project. The room was filled with influential community leaders, their expressions a mix of concern and anticipation. Maya stood at the front, her presence commanding yet approachable. "Good morning, everyone," she began, her voice steady. "Thank you for coming on such short notice. We have serious matters to discuss regarding the library revitalization project." She outlined the financial discrepancies, presenting the evidence with clarity and precision. As she spoke, she could feel the room's energy shift, skepticism giving way to concern as the reality of the situation sank in. One of the board members, a stern-looking man named Mr. Jenkins, leaned forward, his tone accusatory. "Dr. Thompson, are you suggesting that there is intentional fraud occurring within our project? This is a grave accusation?" Maya met his gaze, her composure unwavering. "Yes, Mr. Jenkins. The evidence points to deliberate mismanagement and possible corruption. It's imperative that we take immediate action to investigate and rectify these issues to maintain the integrity of the project and the trust of our community." Another board member, Mrs. Ramirez, interjected, her voice tinged with frustration. How did this go unnoticed for so long, and what measures are we putting in place to prevent this from happening in the future? Maya responded thoughtfully. We're implementing a comprehensive audit of all financial records and establishing a more transparent oversight committee to ensure accountability at every level. Additionally, we will be conducting background checks and providing training to prevent any future instances of misconduct. As the meeting progressed, Maya could sense the undercurrents of bias and prejudice subtly influencing the board's reactions. Some members appeared hesitant to believe that one of their own could be involved in such corruption, while others seemed ready to dismiss her findings without proper consideration. After the meeting, as Maya was preparing to leave, she was approached by Mr. Jenkins once more. "Dr. Thompson," he began, his tone softened, yet still guarded. "I appreciate your dedication to uncovering the truth. It's just difficult to accept that something like this could happen under our watch." Maya nodded, understanding the complexity of the situation. "I understand, Mr. Jenkins, but it's crucial that we address this head-on to restore trust and ensure the success of the project." As she walked out of the town hall, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that her efforts were being met with more resistance than she had anticipated. The subtle biases and prejudices that had been evident in her interactions were now manifesting in the institutional responses, making her journey all the more challenging. Later that evening, Maya returned home, exhausted but resolute. She sat down with her laptop, reflecting on the day's events. The initial conflict was just the tip of the iceberg, and she knew that the true battle was yet to come. The systemic challenges and biases she faced were not unique to Maplewood, but were a microcosm of the broader societal issues that plagued many communities. As she contemplated her next steps, her phone buzzed with another message, this time from Marcus Reed. "Marcus, we need to act swiftly to contain this situation. I've contacted the auditors, and we're coordinating with the police department to ensure a thorough investigation." Maya felt a surge of hope. "Thank you, Marcus. Your support is invaluable." She closed her laptop and leaned back in her chair, allowing herself a moment to breathe. The path ahead was fraught with obstacles, but she was determined to navigate them with the same humility and strength that had brought her this far. The initial conflict had only strengthened her resolve, and she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Stay tuned as Dr. Maya Thompson delves deeper into Maplewood's intricate web of corruption and prejudice, uncovering truths that will test her resilience and redefine her role within the community. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting a twilight glow over Maplewood as Dr. Maya Thompson returned to her home. The day's events had left her both exhausted and invigorated, a tangled mix of frustration and determination swirling within her. She knew that the path she was on was fraught with obstacles, but her commitment to integrity and her community burned brighter than ever. Inside her modest home, Maya sat down at her desk, the soft hum of her laptop filling the quiet room. She meticulously reviewed the documents from the town hall meeting, noting the subtle yet pervasive resistance from some board members. It wasn't just about the financial discrepancies anymore. It was about challenging the entrenched biases and prejudices that had silently governed Maplewood for years. As she prepared her report for the next day's board meeting, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. Seeing Marcus's name flash on the screen, she answered promptly. "Maya." "Hi, Marcus. Is everything all right?" "Marcus." "Good evening, Maya. I need to talk to you urgently. It's about the library project." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. "What's wrong?" she thought. "Maya." "What's happening?" "Marcus." "There's been a leak. Someone has gone behind our backs and reported the discrepancies to the local news. They're painting it as a scandal involving misuse of public funds." Maya's heart raced. A leak? But who? "Maya. Do you have any idea who might be responsible?" "Marcus." "I suspect Officer Daniels. He's been acting strangely since our last meeting. He's been avoiding us, making excuses to not collaborate. I think he's involved somehow." "Maya." "Officer Daniels? Why would he do that?" "Marcus. He's been pushing his own agenda, trying to maintain the status quo. If this news breaks, it could jeopardize everything we've worked for. We need to act quickly to contain the damage." Maya took a deep breath, her mind racing with the implications. "All right, let's meet tonight and figure out our next steps." As she ended the call, Maya felt a surge of determination. The stakes had never been higher. Not only was the integrity of the library project at risk, but her reputation and the trust she had built within the community were also under threat. Later that evening, Maya met with Marcus in a secluded corner of Brood Awakenings. The normally bustling coffee shop was quiet, the dim lighting providing a sense of privacy. "Marcus, we need to get ahead of this before it spirals out of control. If Officer Daniels is behind this, he's using his influence to manipulate the narrative." "Maya, what do we know so far?" "Marcus, the news outlet published a story claiming that the library project has been mismanaged and that funds are being diverted for personal use. They've cited anonymous sources, but it's clear someone with insider knowledge leaked the information." Maya frowned, her mind piecing together the puzzle. "We need evidence that can expose Daniels without putting ourselves in further jeopardy. If he's leveraging his position, he might retaliate." "Marcus, I've been monitoring his activities. He's been meeting with some board members after hours, steering conversations away from the project's financials. I believe he's orchestrating this to discredit us." Maya nodded, her resolve hardening. "We need to gather concrete proof of his involvement. Perhaps accessing the internal communications or financial records could reveal his manipulations." "Marcus, I can help with that. I have contacts within the police department who can discreetly provide us with any relevant information, but we need to move fast." Maya glanced around the coffee shop, ensuring they weren't overheard. "Agreed. Let's coordinate our efforts and set a plan in motion." The next morning, Maya arrived at the library project office with a sense of urgency. The once vibrant and hopeful atmosphere was now tainted with whispers of scandal. Employees moved with a sense of unease, their usual enthusiasm dampened by the looming threat of public scrutiny. As she entered her office, Olivia Carter was already waiting, her face etched with worry. "Maya, we need to talk," Olivia said, her voice low. Maya gestured for her to sit. "What's happening?" "Olivia, the media coverage is getting worse. They're demanding interviews and more information. The board is under pressure to provide answers, but without solid evidence, we're stuck." Maya sighed, frustration welling up inside her. "We need to find the source of the leak and shut this down before it escalates further." "Have you noticed anything unusual with the board members lately?" Olivia. "Only Officer Daniels seems particularly defensive. He's been interrupting meetings, pushing back against transparency. It's like he's trying to bury the issue rather than address it." Maya. "That's our lead. Marcus and I will work together to dig deeper into his activities. In the meantime, we need to control the narrative as much as possible." As they strategized, Maya's phone buzzed again. This time, it was an unknown number, she answered cautiously. "Maya." "Hello?" Voice on the other end. "Dr. Thompson, you need to stop your investigation. You're in over your head." Maya's blood ran cold. "Who is this?" Voice. "Just consider this a warning. Drop the matter before it gets worse." The line went dead, leaving Maya shaken but resolute. She turned to Olivia, her eyes steely. "Someone is threatening us to back off. We can't let fear dictate our actions." Olivia. "We need to inform Marcus immediately. This could escalate to physical threats if we don't handle it carefully." Maya nodded, her mind racing. "We need to stay one step ahead. Let's meet with Marcus and outline a contingency plan." Later that day, Maya and Olivia met with Marcus in a secure conference room at Brood Awakenings. The gravity of the situation was palpable, the trio united by a common goal, but aware of the mounting dangers. Maya. "We've received a threat to stop our investigation. Someone doesn't want us to uncover the truth." Marcus. "This is serious. If Officer Daniels is involved, he has the means and influence to cause real harm. We need to ensure our safety while continuing our efforts." Olivia. "I've started compiling all the evidence we have against him. If we can present this to the board and the authorities discreetly, we can protect ourselves and the project." Maya. "Agreed. But we need to tread carefully. Daniels is well connected, and he won't hesitate to retaliate. We need allies who can support us without drawing unwanted attention." Just then, the door swung open, and Michael Lewis entered the room, his face pale but determined. "Michael. I have something that might help. I managed to access some of the internal communications between Daniels and certain board members. It's not much, but it's a start." Maya took the USB drive from Michael, her mind already formulating a plan. Good work, Michael. Let's analyze this data and see if we can find any incriminating evidence. As they began to sift through the files, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that the walls were closing in around her. The subtle biases and prejudices that had been stifling her efforts were now manifesting in overt attempts to silence her. Hours passed as they combed through emails, memos, and financial records. Finally, Maya stumbled upon a series of messages that confirmed their worst fears. Olivia, here it is. Daniels is collaborating with 2 of the board members to manipulate the project's budget. They're funneling funds into personal accounts through shell companies. Marcus, this is irrefutable evidence. We need to present this to the authorities and the board immediately, but we must ensure that this doesn't get back to Daniels until we're ready. Maya nodded, a mix of triumph and dread washing over her. This is our chance to expose the corruption and restore integrity to the project, but we need to move quickly and strategically. That evening, as Maya prepared to leave for the day, her phone buzzed with another message, this time from the unknown caller. Unknown number, this is your final warning. Stop now, or face the consequences. Maya felt a surge of anger and fear, but forced herself to remain calm. They won't stop us. We have the truth on our side. Just as she was about to close her laptop, there was a loud crash from her office. Startled, Maya rushed in to find the door ajar and the window shattered, glass scattered across the floor. Her heart pounded as she glanced around the room, but nothing seemed missing, except for her laptop, which lay smashed on the ground. She felt a hand clamp down on her shoulder, spinning around to face Officer Daniels, his expression twisted with malice. Officer Daniels. You really thought you could outsmart me, didn't you, Maya? Now you're going to pay the price for meddling in things you don't understand. Maya remained composed, though her heart raced with adrenaline. What are you talking about, Daniels? You have no authority over me. Daniels, I have more power than you know. This town runs on respect and fear, and you've disrupted that balance. Before Maya could react, Daniels pulled out a badge and a pair of handcuffs, his actions swift and deliberate. You're under arrest for obstruction of public duties and misuse of project funds. Maya struggled slightly, but Daniels was too strong. This is a setup, Daniels. I have evidence of your corruption. You can't do this to me. Daniels sneered, pulling her to her feet. Watch me. As he attempted to drag her out, the room erupted in chaos. Olivia and Marcus burst through the door, trying to intervene, but Daniels pushed them back with alarming force. Olivia. Let her go, Daniels. Marcus. This is illegal. You have no right. Daniels laughed harshly, his grip tightening on Maya's arm. Everyone looks so surprised. You thought you could challenge the system, but the system always wins. At that moment, the sound of sirens blared outside, and the sight of flashing red and blue lights illuminated the room. The local police force had arrived, responding to an anonymous tip from Maya's trusted contacts. Officer Daniels, realizing he was now the target, attempted to flee, but was quickly apprehended by the arriving officers. Maya stood there, still cuffed but unharmed, as the truth of the corruption was finally coming to light. As the officers began to question Daniels, Olivia and Marcus rushed to Maya's side, helping her to her feet. Olivia. Are you okay, Maya? Maya. Yes, thanks to you both, Daniels is going down. Marcus. We've got everything we need now. He'll be taken into custody, and the board will have no choice but to act on the evidence. Maya took a deep breath, feeling the tension ebb away as the immediate threat was neutralized. This is just the beginning. We need to ensure that the entire system is transparent and accountable. No more secrets, no more corruption. As she looked around the room, she saw the support and determination in Olivia and Marcus's eyes. They had stood by her through the darkest moments, and together, they would rebuild the trust and integrity that Maplewood deserved. As Maya walked out of the town hall that evening, the cool night air felt like a fresh start. The revelation of Officer Daniels' corruption was a pivotal moment, a turning point that would reshape the future of the library project and the entire community. But as she made her way home, a lingering sense of unease reminded her that the battle was far from over. There were still whispers of deeper, more systemic issues lurking beneath the surface. Threats from those who wanted to maintain their power at any cost. Determined and resolute, Maya knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but with the support of her allies and the unwavering strength of her convictions, she was ready to face whatever came next. Stay tuned as Dr. Maya Thompson confronts the entrenched corruption within Maplewood, navigating the complex web of biases and power struggles to lead her community toward a brighter, more equitable future. The night air was thick with tension as Dr. Maya Thompson sat alone in her office, the dim glow of her desk lamp casting long shadows across the room. The shattered remnants of her laptop lay scattered on the floor, a stark reminder of Officer Daniels' blatant attempt to sabotage her investigation. Despite the physical damage, Maya felt a surge of determination stronger than ever before. This was not just about the library project or exposing one corrupt officer. It was about dismantling a deeply entrenched system of corruption and bias that had long plagued Maplewood. As she meticulously pieced together the evidence against Daniels, Maya's mind raced with strategies. She knew that confronting such systemic issues required more than just evidence. It demanded unwavering resolve and the support of her allies. Her thoughts drifted to Olivia Carter and Marcus Reed, the two pillars of support who had stood by her through the storm. Their unwavering dedication was the backbone of her mission, and together, they had the potential to bring about meaningful change. Just then, the door to her office swung open abruptly, the sound echoing through the quiet space. Maya looked up to see Olivia and Marcus entering, their expressions serious but resolute. "Olivia. Maya, we need to talk." Maya gestured for them to take a seat, her eyes reflecting the gravity of the situation. "What's going on?" "Marcus, we've received word that Daniels is rallying support among certain board members and influential community figures. It seems he's trying to create a divide, painting you and the project as the problem." Olivia nodded, her face etched with concern. "He's not giving up easily. In fact, he's escalating his efforts to undermine your credibility and the project's integrity." Maya felt a knot tighten in her stomach, but she refused to let fear take hold. "We need to counter his narrative with undeniable facts. The evidence we have is solid, but we need to make sure it reaches everyone involved." Olivia agreed. "We need to hold an emergency town hall meeting, not just to address the current scandal, but to showcase the transparency and accountability measures we're implementing. It's time to control the narrative before Daniels can twist it further." "Marcus, I'll coordinate with the auditors and legal team to ensure we have everything we need. We also need to reach out to the media to get our side of the story out there." Maya nodded, her resolve hardening. "Let's get started. We can't afford to let Daniels and his allies gain the upper hand." As the three of them began to strategize, the weight of the impending confrontation settled over them. The stakes had never been higher, and the path forward was fraught with obstacles. Yet, Maya felt a sense of unity and purpose that fortified her against the challenges ahead. The next morning dawned bright and clear, a stark contrast to the storm of uncertainty that clouded Maya's mind. Determined to take decisive action, she arrived at the town hall early, her presence commanding and unwavering. Olivia and Marcus were already there, setting up the space for the emergency meeting. The board members were gathered, their faces a mix of anxiety and apprehension. Maya took a deep breath, her mind focused on the task at hand. "This is our moment to shine," she thought, pushing aside any lingering doubts. She approached the podium, her posture exuding confidence and authority. "Good morning, everyone," Maya began, her voice steady and clear. "Thank you for attending this emergency meeting on such short notice. We are here to address the recent allegations and to reaffirm our commitment to transparency and integrity in the library revitalization project." A murmur of uncertainty rippled through the room, but Maya held their gaze firmly. "Stay calm, stay strong," she continued, outlining the evidence they had uncovered, presenting the findings that directly implicated Officer Daniels and the complicit board members. As she spoke, the room grew silent, the weight of the revelations sinking in. The board members exchanged uneasy glances, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats. "Mr. Jenkins. Dr. Thompson, these are serious accusations. How can we be certain that this evidence is legitimate?" Maya met his challenge head-on, her eyes unwavering. "The evidence has been meticulously gathered and verified by our auditors and the legal team. We have concrete proof of financial mismanagement and collusion to divert funds for personal gain. This is not a baseless claim. It is a documented reality that threatens the integrity of our project and the trust of our community." Before Jenkins could respond, Officer Daniels entered the room, his expression a mask of indifference. The room fell into an uneasy silence as he approached the podium. "Officer Daniels, Dr. Thompson, you've certainly stirred the pot, but let's not forget the disruptions your investigations have caused. This project is vital for our community, and your actions have put that at risk." Maya remained composed, her internal strength shining through. "I'm here to ensure that the project serves the community's best interests, not the selfish agendas of a few corrupt individuals." Daniels smirked, his eyes cold. "You think you can change the system from within, Maya? You're out of your depth." Maya felt a surge of frustration, but maintained her professionalism. "I have the evidence to back up my claims, and I'm committed to seeing this through. The community deserves better." At that moment, Olivia stepped forward, her voice firm and authoritative. "Officer Daniels, we have witnesses and documentation that directly link you and certain board members to the financial irregularities in the project. It's time for accountability." Daniels' facade began to crumble, his smug demeanor fading as the room's attention turned toward him. "You have no proof," he retorted, but his voice lacked conviction. "Mr. Ramirez." "Actually, we do, Olivia. Please present the evidence." Olivia took a deep breath, stepping up to the podium to display the documents on a projector. The room's atmosphere shifted from tension to disbelief as the evidence was laid bare: emails, financial statements, and recorded conversations that unmistakably tied Daniels and the board members to the fraudulent activities. Maya watched as Daniels' face twisted with anger and desperation. This can't be happening. "Mr. Jenkins, this is a serious breach of trust and ethics, Officer Daniels. You are hereby suspended pending a full investigation. The board will take the necessary steps to address this corruption." Daniels stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "This isn't over, Maya. You'll regret crossing me." Before Maya could respond, the sound of sirens outside signaled the arrival of the police. The officers entered the room, surrounding Daniels as they moved to apprehend him. The room buzzed with a mix of relief and tension, the immediate threat neutralized but the underlying issues still looming. As Daniels was escorted out, Maya felt a bittersweet sense of victory. The immediate conflict had been resolved, but she knew that the fight against systemic corruption and bias was far from over. The revelations had exposed deep-seated issues within the community, and Maya was determined to address them head-on. That evening, Maya convened a meeting with Olivia and Marcus at Brood Awakenings. The trio sat together, the gravity of their recent success tempered by the challenges that still lay ahead. "Olivia, we've managed to take down Daniels, but there are still others who might be involved. We need to ensure that this isn't just a one-off incident." Marcus: "Agreed. The audit revealed inconsistencies, not just in the library project, but in other community initiatives as well. We need a comprehensive plan to root out corruption and rebuild trust." Maya nodded, her mind already strategizing the next steps. "We need to establish a task force dedicated to transparency and accountability. This will involve regular audits, community oversight committees, and strict enforcement of ethical guidelines." Olivia: "We should also implement training programs to address unconscious biases and promote a culture of integrity within all community projects." Marcus: "I'll reach out to external consultants who specialize in organizational reform. We need expert guidance to ensure we're covering all bases." Maya felt a sense of unity and purpose as they outlined their plan. This is just the beginning. We have the opportunity to create a model of transparency and accountability that other communities can follow. Let's make sure we leave no stone unturned. As the meeting concluded, Maya couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Amidst the challenges, they had taken a significant step forward, but the journey was far from over. The path to true reform was long and arduous, but with Olivia and Marcus by her side, Maya was confident they could overcome the obstacles ahead. Days turned into weeks as Maya, Olivia, and Marcus worked tirelessly to implement their comprehensive plan. The task force was established, bringing together dedicated individuals from various sectors to ensure a multifaceted approach to combating corruption and promoting transparency. Regular audits were conducted, revealing more instances of mismanagement and favoritism that had gone unnoticed for years. Despite their progress, the resistance was far from over. Subtle microaggressions and overt acts of discrimination continued to surface, challenging Maya's resolve. During one audit meeting, a senior board member, Mr. Thompson, openly questioned Maya's competence and suggested that perhaps someone with less influence should be overseeing the project. Mr. Thompson. Dr. Thompson, while your dedication is commendable, perhaps it would be more beneficial to have someone with a clearer understanding of our community's traditional values to lead these audits. Maya took a deep breath, her internal strength shining through. I appreciate your concern, Mr. Thompson, but the evidence speaks for itself. Our priority is to ensure that our community's resources are being used ethically and effectively, regardless of who is leading the initiative. Mr. Thompson scoffed, dismissing her words with a wave of his hand. Very well, but don't expect everyone to follow your lead without question. As he left the room, Maya felt a surge of frustration, but remained composed. This isn't about personal egos, it's about doing what's right for the community. Later that evening, as Maya reviewed the latest audit reports, her phone buzzed with another message from Marcus. Marcus, we need to discuss something urgent. Meet me at the coffee shop in 30 minutes. Maya sensed the gravity in his message and quickly made her way to Brood Awakenings. When she arrived, Marcus was already seated, his face pale and his eyes wide with concern. Maya. What's going on, Marcus? We've uncovered evidence that there's a network of individuals within the community who are actively working against our efforts. They're spreading misinformation, manipulating public opinion, and even tampering with our audit processes. It's more organized than we initially thought. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Who is behind this? Marcus. It points to a coalition of influential figures who benefit from the status quo. They have deep-rooted connections and are leveraging their power to maintain control and suppress any attempts at reform. Maya clenched her fists, her resolve solidifying. We can't let them win, we need to expose them and protect the integrity of our project. Marcus. But how they have the upper hand with their connections and influence, any misstep could put us in jeopardy. Maya looked out the window, her mind racing with possibilities. We need to gather undeniable evidence and rally the support of the community. Transparency is our weapon, and unity is our shield. We can't afford to operate in the shadows anymore. Marcus. Agreed. I've started reaching out to other community leaders who have been supportive. We need to build a coalition that can stand up to this network. Maya nodded, her determination unwavering. Let's continue to push forward. We have the truth on our side, and that's something they can't easily take away from us. The following days were a whirlwind of activity as Maya and her team worked tirelessly to dismantle the network of corruption and bias within Maplewood. They held community meetings, presented their findings, and rallied support from those who believed in their cause. The task force expanded, bringing in more allies who were committed to fostering a culture of integrity and transparency. However, the resistance only grew stronger. Subtle microaggressions, such as being dismissed in meetings or having their ideas overlooked, became more frequent. On one occasion, during a board meeting, a senior member, Mrs. Whitaker, subtly undermined Maya's contributions by taking credit for her recommendations. Mrs. Whitaker. As Dr. Thompson suggested earlier, implementing these changes could indeed streamline our processes and improve overall efficiency. Maya felt a pang of frustration, but chose to remain composed. I'm glad you found value in the suggestions, Mrs. Whitaker. It's crucial that we work collaboratively to ensure the success of our initiatives. As the months passed, Maya's resolve was continually tested. The network's efforts to discredit her and her team intensified, with coordinated misinformation campaigns and attempts to sabotage their efforts. Yet, Maya remained steadfast, her humility and strength guiding her through the darkest moments. One evening, as Maya returned home from a particularly grueling day, she found a package waiting at her doorstep. Inside was a USB drive and a note written in hurried, scrawled handwriting. Note: you're digging too deep. Stop before it's too late. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. The threat was clear. Someone within the community was desperate to halt her progress, willing to go to extreme lengths to maintain their control. But instead of fear, Maya felt a surge of determination. They can try to intimidate me, but they can't silence the truth. She quickly backed up the USB drive's contents to her secure cloud storage and contacted Olivia and Marcus. Maya, we've got another threat. Someone wants us to stop our investigation, but we can't let fear dictate our actions. Olivia, we need to ramp up our security measures and ensure that our communications are secure. This might be bigger than we thought. Marcus, I agree. We need to take this seriously and prepare for any further escalation. Let's also consider reaching out to external support, maybe legal advisors or trusted journalists who can help us expose the truth. Maya nodded, her resolve unshaken. We can't let them win. We have to stay the course and continue our fight for transparency and accountability. The day of the town's annual community festival arrived, a significant event that brought together residents from all walks of life to celebrate Maplewood's spirit and unity. Maya saw it as the perfect opportunity to showcase the positive changes they had implemented and to counter the misinformation that had been spreading. As she set up a booth for the library revitalization project, Olivia and Marcus worked alongside her, their teamwork a testament to their unwavering dedication. The festival was bustling with activity, the air filled with laughter, music, and the vibrant energy of a community coming together. However, amidst the festivities, Maya couldn't ignore the undercurrent of tension. She had received reports of vandalism and targeted harassment towards supporters of the project, a clear sign that the network's desperation was escalating. Determined to maintain a positive front, she focused on engaging with the community, answering questions, and sharing the progress they had made. As the day progressed, Maya noticed a familiar figure watching her from a distance. Officer Daniels. His presence was a stark reminder of the ongoing conflict, and Maya felt a surge of adrenaline. She knew that her continued efforts were putting her directly in his crosshairs, but she refused to back down. Just as the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the festival grounds, Maya was approached by a group of community leaders and residents who had heard about her efforts. Their support was a beacon of hope amidst the growing challenges. Community leader. Dr. Thompson, we've seen the changes you've implemented, and we want to help amplify your message. The truth needs to reach everyone. Maya smiled, grateful for their solidarity. Thank you. Your support means everything. Together, we can ensure that Maplewood remains a place of integrity and unity. As she continued to interact with the community, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that the pivotal moment was drawing near. The mounting evidence, the growing support, and the escalating threats all pointed towards a confrontation that would determine the future of the library project and the very soul of Maplewood. As night fell and the festival began to wind down, Maya received a call from Marcus. Marcus. Maya, we've got a situation. Daniels is organizing a rally to protest against the library project, and it's drawing a large crowd. It's our chance to expose his true intentions in front of the entire community. Maya felt a surge of determination. This is it. We need to be prepared. Let's meet and plan our approach. They quickly convened at a secluded spot, outlining their strategy to confront Daniels publicly and reveal the corruption he had fostered. The tension was palpable, the stakes higher than ever. Olivia, we need to ensure that our evidence is irrefutable and that we have the community's support. Daniels thrives on manipulation and misinformation, so we have to stay one step ahead. Marcus, I'll coordinate with the police department to ensure everything is secure. We can't afford any interruptions or further intimidation. Maya nodded, her internal strength shining through. We've come too far to turn back now. Let's show the community the truth and take back control. As they finalized their plan, Maya couldn't help but feel a mixture of fear and hope. The confrontation was imminent, and the outcome would define the future of Maplewood. But Maya was ready. Her humility and unwavering resolve had brought her this far, and she was determined to see it through, no matter the cost. As the rally drew near, the tension in Maplewood reached its peak. The community gathered in the town square, the air thick with anticipation and apprehension. Maya stood at the forefront, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. Beside her stood Olivia and Marcus, their presence a source of unwavering support. Officer Daniels arrived, flanked by his loyal followers, his expression a mask of defiance and anger. The crowd buzzed with whispers, the undercurrents of bias and prejudice palpable as Daniels took the stage to address the assembly. Officer Daniels: Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We are here today because this project is a threat to our community's values and traditions. Dr. Thompson and her allies are pushing an agenda that disrupts the fabric of Maplewood. Maya stepped forward, her voice clear and resolute. Officer Daniels, your claims are baseless and fueled by your own personal agendas. We are here to promote transparency, accountability, and the betterment of our community through the Library Revitalization Project. The crowd fell silent, the tension reaching a boiling point. Maya continued, presenting the evidence they had gathered: emails, financial records, and documented conversations that exposed Daniels's corruption and the manipulative tactics he had employed to undermine their efforts. As Maya spoke, the crowd began to murmur, the truth slowly sinking in. Daniels attempted to counter her claims, but the weight of the evidence was overwhelming. The community members, witnessing the undeniable proof of corruption, began to turn against Daniels, their support for Maya growing stronger with each passing moment. Just as the situation seemed to be turning in their favor, a loud crash echoed through the square. The crowd gasped as several police officers moved towards Maya, their expressions stern and unyielding. Officer Daniels watched with a mix of fury and fear as his influence crumbled before him. Lead Officer: Dr. Thompson, you are under arrest for obstruction of public duties and spreading false information. Maya's heart sank as the officers moved to apprehend her, but she remained composed. This is a setup, just like the others. You have no evidence to support these charges. Lead Officer: the evidence is clear. You manipulated the project's data to tarnish Officer Daniels's reputation. Maya met his gaze, her internal strength shining through her calm exterior. The only manipulation here is your attempt to silence me and cover up your corruption. As the officers moved to handcuff her, the community members erupted into chaos. Olivia and Marcus sprang into action, rallying the crowd to demand her release and to support her fight for justice. The tension reached its peak as the true extent of the systemic corruption was exposed, and the community stood united behind Maya. Cliffhanger. Just as Maya was being led away, a familiar figure stepped forward from the crowd, a respected community leader who had been quietly supporting Maya's efforts. This isn't over, he declared, pulling out his phone. I'm live streaming this entire event. The truth will be seen by everyone. As the live stream captured the unfolding drama, Maya felt a surge of hope. The pivotal moment had arrived, and the battle for Maplewood's integrity was now in full view of the world. The outcome was uncertain, but Maya knew that her fight for justice and transparency was far from over. Stay tuned as Dr. Maya Thompson faces her greatest challenge yet, fighting against systemic corruption and prejudice to reclaim her community's trust and integrity. If you're on the edge of your seat with Maya's journey, give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling narratives like this. See you in the next one.